looking for high stakes, high power, and a ridiculous amount of fun? Well, welcome to the LockJaw Casino. Look, there's already so much RNG in Marvel Snap, from the card draws to the locations. Why not just add a little more? Risking those sweet cosmic cubes, it's like gambling blindfolded. In today's in-depth guide, I'll teach you everything you need or want to know about the LockJaw Casino, from the tokens that you'll use to play your chance at luck to the biggest power prizes that you should slot in your deck. Most importantly, I'll teach you how to both pilot and create a deck that's not only a lot of fun with high stakes, but also pretty competitive. Let's kick off with the MVP, the game commissioner himself, Mr. Jaw. When the good boy LockJaw here is placed on a location, any other cards that are also placed on that location will be swapped out from a random selection in your deck. Cosmo, Enchantress, nothing can stop this game from happening. Now, obviously, you're going to need cheaper cost cards to gamble with, or ones that are poor in power and rich in abilities. Which brings us to the token system, the cards you'll be using to gamble and play the LockJaw Casino. Now, some are versatile and can fit into plenty of different decks, while others are more specific to the deck that they're designed for. Let's go ahead and start with the versatile options and my favorites. Now, the main token we need to start out with, you guys know all too well, the game within a game. We've got Jubilee. Now, she's going to serve as two different purposes in LockJaw decks, and for the most part is a main staple you'll be using. Now, when you put Jubilee on LockJaw, obviously she's going to swap out for another option, but she'll still bring down a card, allowing you to have two different chances at the casino for only 4 cost. She's also great if you don't pull LockJaw. Your deck is built with high power cost cards, so she's kind of our backup options if we do not get the dog. Now, we've got a lot of tokens to talk about today, but by far my favorite option, which I know a lot of people don't have currently, are the Infinity Stones, for more reasons than one. Now, first of all, yes, they're going to be 1 cost, which is great. That means we can use them for a bunch of chances at the game and casino. But at the same time, we've got options like the Time Stone. This is great if you have LockJaw in your opening hand and the Time Stone. You can start the game on turn 2 and play LockJaw early on. That's insane. And as a new January fix, they're going to fix the way it works. Currently, the Time Stone needs to be on the board for 1 turn to get the +1 energy, but they'll fix that to be an on-reveal effect, which is great, allowing us to play more cards faster, or if we don't get LockJaw, it's another option as well. Now, by far, guys, the best Infinity Stone to play into LockJaw is the Space Stone, and this thing is made for the dog. If you played into LockJaw, whatever comes out, doesn't matter, you can move to another location. Now, this gives us 2 huge advantages. Number 1, if you get something like Giganto, you can just move them to any location to spread that power out, helping one of the more cons of this deck. But at the same time, it's going to give you another chance to play the casino game. Now, what can be a little bad with this is you are going to give yourself more options to come out of LockJaw, and these are a little underwhelming of power, obviously. But you can design a LockJaw deck to take full advantage of that. We'll talk about that later today. Another great option that is played tons is Wasp. It's a free play that you can go and use at any time as a token card. Now, again, it can come back to bite you, as Wasp can come back up from LockJaw. And to avoid this, you can play her as the last card on the last turn to ensure you get at least something of more value from the deck. Now, other great options are things like Thor's Hammer. It's going to power up Thor, go back into the deck, and have another chance to activate. One of my favorite things to play in a LockJaw deck, as well as cards like Quicksilver, who has finally a purpose in this game. He's going to give yourself a guaranteed token to open up your hand to use on a later turn. Now, speaking of Quicksilver, tons of 1-cost options are great. You can play them, obviously, as a token. Things like Sunspot, you can go ahead and build him up if you're not getting the right card pulls, or if he comes up, you can still build him up from LockJaw. Anything with an on-reveal effect like Iceman, Korg, play these in and you get 2 birds with 1 stone kind of thing. And then also, I love to play Nightcrawler, as if he comes back up in LockJaw, you can always move him out of the way later. Now, finally, out of the newer card options, we've got things like M'Baku that you can play back into your deck to play at a location for free, guaranteeing that he is not in your hand. Or this beauty right here that you can play into LockJaw or really anywhere on the board and get yourself another 1-cost card to play into the casino. We're getting new cards that continue to build up a deck that's been around for a good amount of time, and it's only getting better. Now, outside of those options, we've got some of my other favorite cards, and naturally, these tokens are going to work best with on-reveal abilities. They all serve for a huge purpose of combos if you don't pull LockJaw, but they're also not necessary to keep on the board, right? Cards like Electro to get his on-reveal, but not his ongoing ability. Mr. Negative and Sherry are among my favorites to play with stronger abilities. Now, if you don't have those cards or you want some other options, I also like all of the cards that you see here as well. Things like Black Widow, Psylocke, Okoye, Scorpion are all great cheap options that are going to give you a pretty big advantage playing into LockJaw. Now, lastly, because LockJaw works amongst plenty of different archetypes, we have things like discard tokens or specific to destroy, ongoing, and really the options are endless, but something like this is what you would use in a LockJaw discard deck. So never mind the currency and the tokens. What about the prizes? What do you win? Well, you get the big power cards as a payoff. We're going to talk about the best ones to include in your deck for the highest payoff. Now, these will be the majority of cards you want to include in your casino-style decks. Obviously, the big-ass power cards in short. Look at your collection and the strongest, most powerful cards that don't have a con to them. You know, you don't want the Destroyer in your LockJaw deck. All these Tier 1 prizes are great to pull and usually can just win you a lane outright. I love Vision as well, and I included him amongst the top prizes, as you can always move him out of the way for instant power and another free play onto LockJaw. Now, what if you don't have all the big power cards, right? You're going to have Hulk and Infinite and the ones that, you get from Pool 1 and 2, but you can also set things up for combos. Things like Gamora, Spider-Woman are both great to have come up as prizes, and then you're going to hope and roll the dice or even play into it something like Odin to re-trigger these effects. And that's a whole nother way that you can play LockJaw if you don't have all of the card options. Now, some other options for LockJaw decks are things like Abomination, Arrow, Captain Marvel, Jane Foster, these other cards that you can go ahead and utilize. Now, some of these you might want to play outside of just going into LockJaw. For instance, Arrow, you don't always want to have come up or leader. You typically want to play these and know where to play them, but they are great and they can serve some purpose as well. Now, this brings me to my favorite part of this deck, and that is it's very plug and playable to your collection. You can customize it. I'll give you my best LockJaw decks and the ones that I play, but you can do one that's going to fit your collection. The main core thing you need to understand is really just getting a good balance of the token cards or low-cost options and the big power cards. You don't want too many tokens, even though you do want enough to play the game. You really want those big ones to come out top, and the more tokens you put in, the more risk you have at getting a low option popping up instead. Now let's talk strategy. Typically in LockJaw decks, you don't want to be playing cards in the first couple of turns. If you're all in on the LockJaw Casino, you want to save these to play into LockJaw, and then you want to evaluate the cards you have in your hand, what's left in your deck that could come up as a prize later on. Now, obviously, playing LockJaw on turn 3 is ideal, but Lady Fortune doesn't strike everybody the same. Every match is different. We have a couple backup plans, but for the most part, this is the core strategy. Now, you don't want to be putting them into locations that are confined by time, something like the Vault. You want to make sure that you have as much time as possible and chances to play the LockJaw Casino. Now, as scary as it sounds, if you don't have anything on turn 3, that's okay. We can go ahead and wait another turn if you don't have any options to play. Be patient. This deck is about winning big and late. Now, if you did pull LockJaw, this is when we want to start putting our tokens into the guy. Now, depending on what kind of deck your opponent is playing, if you identify that they might be playing leader, maybe you want to go and put your tokens into him later on. But for the most part, you want to put in a couple of them early. Jubilee is a great option to play on turn 4 if you happen to have LockJaw down on turn 3. And if you didn't pull LockJaw, now is the time to probably play Jubilee. Go ahead and try to pull a big power card from your deck that's designed and heavy weighted with big power. Or maybe you could pull LockJaw from that and then play into that the next turn. Now, what about you guys that, the universe hates you? You have terrible luck. You didn't get LockJaw or Jubilee. It's turn 5. You don't know what to do. You have a bunch of high power cards in your deck. We've got one last play. One of them is get the hell out and just take the 1 cube loss. Or you can go ahead and try to do something like Gamora. Play one more game. See if you can land the 12 power. Then on turn 6, you can Arnim Zola Gamora to spread her to a couple lanes, which is usually enough to win. Now, before we get to the decks, let's talk about snapping. Typically, you got to be pretty crazy with the snapping on LockJaw decks. You should be snapping around turn 4 or 5. You can't always wait for your luck to fold in your hands and then say you want to double down, right? The opponent's going to get the hell out of there. You're already playing a LockJaw deck, so why not get a little bit more loose with your cubes as you would if you were gambling in Las Vegas? But for the most part, I snap around turn 4 if I've got, LockJaw or Jubilee, or I've had one thing go in my favor. If I have one big card come out of LockJaw, it's a good sign I should probably snap. If you snap by turn 6, they're gone. you're not going to get anything. So let's talk about these sweet decks. Now remember, you can customize these with all the tokens and power cards we talked about before. If you see pool 5 cards in my LockJaw decks, that doesn't mean you have to use them. Those are the ones I choose to use. If I see comments about it, I'll assume you probably just skip to the graphic to look at the deck. And, you know, that's fine. But let's look at those decks. Now, first of all, we've got the Lockley Casino. And this is going to be one that you can definitely customize. But this has been kind of my favorite blend of the deck. I'm still unsure if I want Maria Hill in this deck, but I like that she gives me another option to play into LockJaw. And with this deck, I get Quicksilver early on. I can go ahead and wait to use that. A guaranteed token in the casino. And then you've got a bunch of things that combo off each other. Cards like Shuri, Black Panther, Gamora, and Spider-Woman all get reactivated by Big All-Father Odin. And then I can play any of these into another lane for a last-ditch win. Black Panther and Arnim Zola is such an easy win to get cheap. And then we've got the big boys of Giganto and Infinite. Now, again, feel free to replace any of these options. Sunspot, Nightcrawler are great one-cost cards. Even Thanos in the Stones. We'll talk about him more later, but definitely a great option for a multitude of different decks. And then just some other ones. Again, I didn't get them all down here, but Ironheart, Death, Hulk, She-Hulk is a great one as well. Vision and Dracula to go and soak up maybe the Infinite that you didn't get to play. Next up is a deck I've been waiting to reveal for a long time. I've been testing it for a while, and it got even better with Zabu. It is a lock-going deck, and this has been a mainstay I've been climbing with pretty well this season. It definitely still has its cons, but guys, this deck just has tons of synergy, and it really doesn't matter what you pull from LockJaw. We've got Mojo, and that's awesome because you're going to have a bunch of full lanes with both Thanos and obviously all of the other cards from LockJaw. We've got Zabu to allow these other 4-cost cards to be played much cheaper, and Kazar is perfect and clutch in this deck because if Thanos Stones do come up from LockJaw, it's the only con. And guess what? We've got Kazar to power those up. Now, the best part about Thanos in this deck, guys, is the stones. Now, yes, Kazar's going to buff them all up if they do land, right? But you also are going to get plenty of card pulls from them. The Space Stone and Time Stone we've already talked about. But the Soul Stone and the Power Stone both have ongoing abilities, which is going to work absolutely perfect if Spectrum cycles through LockJaw for that added bonus. Now, Spectrum with Wong or Spectrum in general is going to activate all of the other cards that we have in this deck, giving us so many options. And with this, that means you can also run cards like Lizard, Armor, if you don't have Thanos to go and get that Spectrum bonus. Blue Marvel's also going to buff up the stones. Sarah is never a bad thing to pop up. And then if you can get Onslaught to land on Omega Red, you're looking for an easy free win as well. Now, for a new blend of LockJaw, we've got LockJaw Discard. And if you're all in on this archetype and you've got things like Hellcow, Dracula, and LockJaw himself, it's not too expensive of a deck. Just a few pool 3 cards there, and this deck is insane. One of the strongest for the discard archetype, if I'm being honest. If you want more on how the mechanics work and how to pilot the deck perfectly, you guys can check out my discard deck guide. I'll put the link up above. But for the more upgraded version of this deck, I've been enjoying the LockJaw discard with Silver Surfer. And we've got Mystique in there to go ahead and copy Morbius. We've got Silver Surfer to boost her up, along with Gambit, LockJaw, and Moon Knight, and Swordmaster. And then Wong and Absorbing Man to go and either we can have Absorbing Man copy our discard options or Silver Surfer himself. Odin is to trigger things like our Gambit combo or, again, the Silver Surfer. And this thing is a little bit... It could be a bit RNG, but LockJaw is either way, and it's a freaking awesome deck and a hell of a ride once you get everything clicking. Next up, we have the Asgardian Kitty Dog. Such a bad name, but this is going to be a Thor LockJaw deck, and this is all about building up Thor for a mass amount of power. Now, this one I have shown does have Zabu with 4-cost cards. You don't have to have Zabu in here. You can definitely replace them for other options, maybe some more high-power cards or cheaper tokens. Or you can use Jane Foster to get both Wasp and the Hammer, pull them from your deck, and obviously activate Thor and get more games at the casino. And then lastly, here is my budget LockJaw deck. This is going to be one you can play if you don't have a lot of pool 3 cards. Again, that's the best part about this archetype. There are plenty of different ways to play it, and you can honestly access it pretty early on with cards like Ironheart that you'll be playing with early either way. This one is pretty successful, and you can definitely use it as you get more upgrades into Pool 3 and get a feel of the playstyle. All right, let's do some gambling. Let's hop into the matches, and I'll show you how I pilot the deck. All right, so we've got the Thor Asgardian dog deck, the Lucky Dog, and this one's a lot of fun to play. I've got Zabu in this build. You don't have to have it, but really, it's all about Thor being such a great card to run with LockJaw because of the hammer, because of the scaling, and then Jane Foster pulling up both the hammer and Wasp if you don't have her is something that's pretty solid, right? So we've got LockJaw and Jubilee already. Doesn't get much better than that. We're going to kind of sit back, relax till turn 3, and play the Jaw. Now, Hellfire Club, a little bit of a bummer to play him on that location, so let's go and see where we could play him. And obviously, Muir Island is a must-play location. Now, honestly, I'm not going to snap just to be able to ensure that Gray's going to stick with us. But if for a good example, this is a round where I probably would snap, just because I've got Wasp for the switch out already. If you can see my deck here, all of these are great options to have come out of LockJaw. And then we also have Jubilee now, too. So I kind of have the things I know I need to get ourselves a pretty good victory here. Now, out of all of the cards, Thor, Dracula, or Zabu is kind of who I would be looking for here. There's not a bad option, though. Zabu is probably one of the best ones to come up now, just so we can play our other cards at hand. And we got Wasp right back to us. So things are just going great here. Getting Infinite isn't as ideal. I have seen people starting to toy, and I'm thinking about it too, Crystal. Because she's 4 cost, I could throw her in the middle, and all of my cards go back in, and I kind of like put my heavy hitters back in if I need to. I kind of like the idea of that, right? So Dracula, we could put him in the middle, and then just kind of make sure that we've got the right cards to help us out later on. That's one potential, and I might do that. So let's do Wasp, and then Jubilee left side, and then I'll Absorbing Man Jubilee. We could do both of them left side, and that just leaves the big hitters on for the Dracula pull, right? Even better. He's storming us. This game's just working out for us big time from Gray here, and this is definitely a snapping game, right? We got Shuri, so we got the double card play. Unfortunately, that's going to go on Jubilee. And she pulled Wasp. So that was not great out of the scenarios we could have had happen. But it is what it is. I think I'm still going to Absorbing Man Jubilee here and pull Thor would be our other option. The only other thing we could do is play like Jane Foster now for a bit extra power. But that guarantees we get the hammer, right? And we can just play that into LockJaw even if it won't be for anything. So let's go ahead. Let's play Absorbing Man, grab our Thor. And the thing is, we could play Absorbing Man in the middle flooding location. Could have been fine, no problem about it. I really split the middle. If I look back, I probably would have done that, but we really just need to have one of those cards activate us there. Thor's going to get the good chunk of bonus for the left side. And with that Hobgoblin, that was somewhat the right play, right? And here we go, guys. So, in final turn, we play the hammer into the deck here. And this is going to be kind of interesting because I believe it's going to go in the deck, activate, go back out, and pop out again, and activate Thor again. And then Dracula taking either of these is insane, or one of these is still a pretty good play, and we should be able to win against Storm. So, if I snapped, he's out of here. Let's just win the 2 cubes. But this is like one of the perfect examples outside of playing Foster for Thor on why this version of the deck is pretty solid. Zabu makes the 2 cost, obviously, the 4 cost and 2 cost, but you don't have to have that option. And it looks like that it doesn't happen all that often, but it looks like when you don't have anything to switch out, it just stays at the top. The more you know. I don't often run out of cards, so that was interesting. But there you go. So 2 cubes, not too bad, and a pretty easy dubs. This guy obviously was trying to do a Surfer deck that didn't pay out for him. Alrighty, folks, are you ready for some unconventional cards? You might see Quicksilver, Maria Hill. Cozy, you must be drunk. I'm not. Completely sober. However, this deck is all about capitalizing LockJaw and the casino aspect, but giving yourself a bit more favor and odds on the table, right? So we've got Quicksilver that we're going to use as a guaranteed token for our LockJaw, and that's also why I've got Maria Hill. Usually she's a 2-3, now she's a 3-3, but she also gives me another token that I can use into LockJaw if we need it. Now, I do prefer Thanos, as you guys well know. I would play Maria Hill, but I can't. I do like Thanos because I think he does the other things that you need to do with this deck a lot better. But you don't have to worry about as much as having a stone come out and serving little purpose. Now, Thanos, again, you've got the Time Stone to play LockJaw early. You've got Space Stone to move it out of the way. You've got the Reality Stone for unfavorable locations. It's just a better card with LockJaw in general. However, with this deck, you can still make it work with great options at hand. So, with that being said, you want to do pretty much nothing your first couple of turns. Get your tokens together and get your LockJaw out on the board. We're looking great. We're playing a Cerebro 2 deck most likely, so I think we're going to be good to go. Now, we've got a bunch of cards that are going to aid us into a safety win, but we also have, obviously, the pot to do some other crazy things. And we're kind of pulling some cards that I would like to be, you know, to use in there, but unfortunately, not yet. Now, with Asgard being available, we're actually going to throw our Jubilee into the pot first because we would love to have ourselves some big names come out of the board. At this point, we are absolutely certain we're playing Cerebro 2 from Cowpal here. And we want big money. Big money. That's our first big money card. Absolutely take that. And okay, not on the table. Was not in the script. Was not in the script, but we'll take it. What the hell's about to happen? We don't even have cards in our deck anymore outside of Shuri and Jubilee, and I don't really know what to do about that. However, Spider-Woman single-handedly is going to ruin Cerebro, so we can obviously still win the game. Now, with this setup, I'm probably gonna start shuffling out Black Panther, and worst case scenario, he's gonna double, and worst case scenario, Shuri comes out, or Jubilee, which will pull Shuri, or Black Panther. So that's definitely the play we're gonna go with there. I might Odin or Arnim Zola next round. Kind of weird. Or if he has a lot built up, we'll go ahead and do Spider-Woman. Because we've got Spider-Woman and because I've lost so many times to Spider-Woman, we're going to snap. He's out of here, and it's our next game. So that kind of shows how this works. Cool. Let's go to the next one. Here we go. We've got our next one. We've got Knock Gore. All right. Sounds great. And we have our casino deck yet again. And we don't want to do anything. We've got our token. We're going to hang on to that. We're going to sit and play the I want LockJaw or Jubilee game. And usually you're going to get one of those by turn 4. Unless you just have astronomical, terrible luck in this game like myself. So let's go ahead and wait and see what is going to come out here. And come on, deck. We're filming. Get your shit together. We're actually going to play Maria Hill in the middle to go and get our... one cost card back to us. Okay. And we got Jubilee. So we didn't get LockJaw. We got Jubilee, which is fine. That means we can go and play that. Sadly, in the middle, he's playing Cosmo. Let's see what we get in the middle. Winner, winner. Chicken dinner, right? So we're good to go there. With the Cosmo and miniaturized lab, makes it a bit more difficult to play LockJaw Casino, as all of these options aren't going to do much with Cosmo on the board. So really kind of tough. But let's go and play our next hand. And I might save this for a last minute option on this left lane. And so I think what we're going to do, folks, is just straight up hit the Gamora play, which we nailed. And as long as this isn't a Shang-Chi. Man, that's frustrating. Don't you hate Leech? I mean, I tell you, Leech just getting rid of the abilities on your cards, isn't that just annoying? It's the worst, right? I can't stand it. I can't stand it. And this is where the deck comes in. Now, if you did Leech us without us having the Infinite, it'd be a bummer. But this time it's looking pretty good. And this guy's not going to know what just hit him. If that's not casino and rolling the dice, I don't know what is. That's even having Cosmo. We'd even use LockJaw. Show me the money. Show me the money. Let's have a good starting hand here, folks. Come on. Okay. Not quite. That's okay, though. Let's go ahead and chill on Dream Dimension. We're playing a very friendly citrus. Always got to love when your fruit's nice, too. And we got LockJaw first up around the clock. So we're sitting on our cards. We're doing nothing till the casino opens. Right? There's no point in gambling if the casino hasn't opened its doors. And now that we have LockJaw, it's wide open. So we're going to play LockJaw. And, we could play him in the middle, but we want our big cards to continue to have big power. So I'm actually going to play him on the left side here. And with Dream Dimension, we do need to do a couple of things to kind of get things rolling a bit faster than usual, which is great. So we have Maria Hill to give us another token, Quicksilver, and that guarantees us a 1-cost card that we can use next turn, as well as having these other options that we can play. Spider-Woman, Gamora, these are out of pocket. We can't use these anymore because of Dream Dimension. But certainly we can use Iron Fist. Look at that. Wow. Wow. Okay, so we got a double activated Shuri off that. Like, I could play a 2/8 Iron Fist if I was feeling so daring. That's kind of fun. That's interesting. I think we're going to do nothing this turn, guys. Absolutely nothing. And then I'm going to play Gamora or Spider-Woman the next turn with a 1-token chip on the left lane and call it a day, folks. Let's throw them off. Make them feel like we're doing nothing here. Like, cool. Okay. Let's have some fun. Oh, yes. I'm so glad he snapped. Okay, so we can get a giant Spider-Woman that we could play. That's a little safer. This guy can still win. Don't get me wrong, because he could just outbeat us here if we get like a really bad pull. Because we've got a couple rocks and Quicksilver in there. But if we get any of these guys and a Jubilee too, whew, doesn't look as hot as what we could usually do. But that's okay. I think we can still make this thing work. Let's go with her on that side. Throw Iron Fist on this side. And hope the gods are good to us, okay? This is definitely gambling. What we've got in the deck is the biggest gamble of it all, right? But he still has to play at least an 8 or higher, and then it has to be a 9 even if I get the 1. And then that's a 10 if I get Quicksilver, or 8 obviously if I get the rock. So this is maximum gambling, but watch this Spider-Woman shoot to the moon. Don't gamble, kids. Don't gamble. Don't gamble. What you see here today, results may vary, okay? Because that... Also, I thought Sherry being played and Odin reactivating her would have doubled this up, but it only did it one time. So I don't even know what's happening anymore. But we won. All right, we're going up against the one and only Chad. And we got our lock going deck. Now, talk about casino. We got the peak, which means we're gambling with like a blindfold on now. Who knows what this guy's got, but that's fine. Now, Time Stone's nice to get early. The only bummer is LockJaw. We can play next turn either way. But we kind of benefit off that peak, man. Getting Blue Marvel at a 3/5 is fantastic value. And we have Khazar. So right now, I'm liking how it's going, Chad. I am liking how it's going. We can kind of capitalize off Mojo in the middle and go from there. So we can play LockJaw now, throw in the Reality Stone if we'd like to. I think we can hang on to Blue Marvel. That's fine. Let's kind of see what we got going on for us. Oh, I love the Reality Stone. Oh my god, it just ate it. I don't know if that's ever happened to me. I don't know if I've ever changed it with a LockJaw shuffle. It just ate the stone. What? I think Chad's confused too, man. And Chad got the worst end of the stick here, but I guess it is what it is. If I snap, Chad's out of here, in my opinion. So we'll leave him in here. This is going to be one where we just kind of go for the two finish. But who knows if Chad's even going to make it that long. All right, so he's going with the Carnage play. Not bad. Not bad. But I don't know if it'll be enough. So let's try to get some of these other stones. We'll throw Mojo. It's a little early to throw Mojo. Let's just go with some stone love for now. We're out of the casino. We can't do much on the casino. And maybe we get like Onslaught. Now, I love this because Thanos, like, you got so many stones in your deck, but it's great because you can use those as tokens, and then you use the other stones to kind of just help you out in other areas. Woof, that's the lowest death I've ever seen. Sorry about that, Chad. Turn 5, folks. Turn 5. All right, so this is what we're going to do. Did some thinking on this turn. We're going to go with Thanos this turn, okay, and do nothing else. We're going to lay down Thanos, get the power out early, And then we're gonna play our other options here. And thank God, hey, and thank God we didn't play our Power Stone, because that fool just decimated all of our hard work, guys. All of our hard work down the drain. Those 1-drops dead. Just dead. But that's okay. We don't need them anyway. We don't need them anyway. You know why? Because this is going to win it for us. All right, so we've got to win by 10 power. We're going to go up to 18. We're going to go up to 18. God knows what happened to that Reality Stone, if it even counted as played. But we've played all of our... Technically, we've played all of our stones. That means we've got an 18 Thanos. Outside of something like a Shang-Chi, I think we're okay. This will boost us up quite considerably. And I think it'll be enough with the Blue Marvel. And if we get the +4 across, we're good to go. So we're going to snap on Chad. We're going all in. I think Chad is puzzled why we would be snapping. But we didn't play the Power Stone. So this could be the Thanos Omega Red clutch finish. He's going middle. Okay. Too bad we didn't play our stones first. I probably should have anticipated the leader. Oh, bam! There's the massive upgrade. Look at that. God, Thanos. God, I love Thanos. All right, let's get a little luck going action with the LockJaw again. And the opening hand could really not be better. We're going to hold on to our Soul Stone and then LockJaw on turn 3. Now, the Soul Stone, I do play typically outside of LockJaw just because, again, we get that Spectrum bonus. So it's not the worst card to play in another lane. And it obviously gives -4 to the other side, which is always fantastic. Dream Dimension, not really fun for anybody. Don't love the location. And Dwight is having a tough turn. It's turn 1. A lot of decisions here for Dwight. Awesome. Okay, turn 2. We've got Onslaught Citadel. Color me excited. And we got the Power Stone. So we have all of our ongoing options we could possibly want. We've got the LockJaw. Things are looking good. Soul Stone in this location alone is just ridiculous. And I'm thinking we might do that with Omega Red in that location. And LockJaw in an entire different one. Because we really don't need LockJaw in that middle location. That adds a different element. That is exciting. Things could not be better for us at this exact minute. Now, Zabu, we definitely have a case for with Omega Red and Darkhawk. We're going to play him before LockJaw, and this will be more of a late turn LockJaw. And then we'll just win our own lane with him. Whatever might come out of it. This guy is going to find out very quickly that he's going to have to challenge this lane. If he does Enchantress us, it's a bummer, but, not the end of the world. And we're going to throw our LockJaw out now. And then we've got Darkhawk that we can use at a later time. So, we're set up, man. We're set up for success. So, we're going to throw the LockJaw out now. I'll challenge the lane with Nakia. That's a pretty easy win. We've got Darkhawk to save our skins later. And if he does decide to Enchantress or Rogue us, then we've got that option. So he takes a Soul Stone, which is -2 across the board. That actually hurts us a ton. But I was somewhat expecting it, if I'm being honest. So let's go and finish the job. And I think what we'll do is... He's got 5 cards in his deck. Darkhawk, that's going to give him 11 power. One more turn, that'll give him 9 power. That's still pretty damn good. I think we'll do this. The only thing opposed to that is that we hang on to that Power Stone to boost up with Spectrum next turn. But let's go and play the shuffle game. Okay. So be it. Give us 11 power in another lane. Beautiful for Spectrum. Yeah, this guy's done. And so that's what's cool, man. You have a lot of different things that kind of pop up with this deck, things that you can play off of. Spectrum here is going to give 1-2 to these guys over here twice, so that's 8 power. Would have won that. Don't know if I would have played that, though. We had other options we could have done, like Iron Man in the double location, and then we could have just done a couple other cards around to spread for the wide win. But there we go. We didn't get Mojo, Blue Marvel, Sarah, Onslaught, Thanos, and everything else kind of worked in our favor. Wong kind of isn't always in this deck. If you don't have Zabu, I don't always include Wong because he's mainly just there for Sarah and the pop-off, or for Spectrum and the pop-off. But it's that good that I sometimes leave him in there. Okay, we've got King Khan here. King Khan for our next game. So Sherry's Lab is our first location. Not one that I'm in love with for ongoing, unless I had something like the Onslaught Omega Red to start. So we might just open up, change that, get the hell out of Dodge, and see what else we can roll here. We've got a couple casino games going on. For Vibranium Mines, I don't mind. Don't mind that for this deck. Don't think we need to use it yet. We'll kind of compete with the Soulstone here. Or for the middle for Sunspot. And this guy's really, really digging deep for those deep combos. The Sunspot Scorpion. You never see that, right? All right, so hate my card placements right now. We're all over the place, man. We're all over the place. But luckily, this guy's letting us play our Thanos most likely early. With Titan right now, I don't really, think we need to play Thanos because we can always play him next turn anyway. So let's hit up the Sarah play, right? Let's go with the Sarah option. Okay. What is this guy doing? All right, so here's the good news. Because this guy's going with the Odin Wave option, we can actually play both Spectrum and Thanos this turn because they both cost 2. So jokes on this guy. And we can also play Onslaught. So super jokes on this guy. I think we're going to go Khazar, believe it or not, and Onslaught rather than these two Jamokes, just because we've got more of the one cost spread around the board than we need the other cards, right? And he snapped on us too, which was bold. All right, cool. So that's amazing. Fantastic. We're going to do the Blue Marvel play into Spectrum. I think we're good. This is why I like this deck, that we didn't even do LockJaw, but there's kind of multiple locations and things that just end up allowing you to play some of these other cards early. I didn't have Sarah in the deck for a little bit, but she just makes it too much fun. This would be 6 on this side with no additional bonus. It probably makes more sense to have Spectrum here in the middle. Blue Marvel is going to boost everyone around the clock here, and then he could always just Sunspot. I don't know. I kind of like both ideas. But let's go with Spectrum in the middle. Kind of give him the Reality Stone. Blue Marvel's going to tie that either way. And I honestly like the snap decision here, because we just have so much going on for us. He doesn't have an Enchantress to save his skin. And what is he going to play a leader here? You know, and that'll copy our Spectrum. He can't copy the Blue Marvel. Is that leader? Ooh, it's Arrow. So this is one example of why I like the stones. Because they come to your advantage way more than other decks. You have the ongoing abilities, and then you have one cost that you can just get the most boosts with Blue Marvel and Khazar. So it's spicy. It's a good deck. I've seen the Khazar Zoo decks. This is a much different approach to it with the other ongoing options. Okay, I'm feeling good. We already took Chad out. Now we've got Adam. These are all classic high school bully names. It's fantastic. All right. So we've got no casino. No casino to open up. But that's okay. We've got other cards that I'm fine with having in my opening hand. We've got our tokens. Damn Crimson Cosmos ruining my day. Let's go to play Maria Hill now. And get another token and kind of just see where things go. Never bad. If we get, I don't know, a Titania, that works, right? He's going to be playing Lizard. We're going to be getting a Agent 13. Okay. So this is now the only place we can play LockJaw reliably, so we've got ourselves some things to figure out, to put it lightly. If all else fails, we're going to play a big card in the middle, and then we're going to Arnim Zola that big card. That's that's our good old backup plan, right? This guy's got to be a bot, because no one in the world has a base golden Punisher. And we got our LockJaw. So we're going to play LockJaw down now. Let's play our first game of Shuffling. And really, outside of any of these are good options. I probably want Jubilee the least. I'd rather pull Jubilee and play her in the middle. But let's see what Father Fortune has in store We got some Black Panther. He's snapping. And here we go. So I think I'm going to play Shuri. Sorry, Shuri into... I think I'm going to play Shuri into our LockJaw. And that's going to give us a good sign of what we can do. Pretty much anything outside of the old Jubes here is going to be a good option. Yo, that's terrific with the Black Panther. Absolutely terrific. And then we've got Shuri again. So, whatever we play is going to be hot and spicy. I think we can snap at this point. He's not going to be able to beat us with anything that we've got. The only bummer is that he's got an 8-point lead in the middle. So, like, even that's not the safest play. What is safe, though, is if we play Gamora in the middle. And then, so that's 14, right? It's 14, so we're ahead by 6. But then if he plays in the middle, too, that's going to give us another 5. So that'd be like, he'd have to really play like the best hand in the world. And then just to make it even extra spicy, let's put Iceman over here just to give us like a little safety gate here. I think we're good, guys. I think this is a dubs. If he plays Spectrum, he's going to get 1, 2, 3. He can't beat us with Spectrum either. This is it. Play, Adam. Let's take down another high school bully. Come on, Adam. Show yourself. That was your big play, Adam? That was your big play? Namor? It's almost good enough. That was your big play? There we go, guys. All right, guys, let's talk the losing report. Now, this one's pretty easy and obvious with the LockJaw deck. Luck just doesn't go your way, right? Sometimes I didn't get LockJaw or Jubilee, so I relied on a turn 5 Gamora, kind of Arnim Zola, and that didn't hit. Or the pop-ups from LockJaw just did not go my way, whether it was Thanos and I just happened to get all the stones and didn't have Khazar, or just a bunch of other things that just kind of went wrong. I think I got Enchantress one round with the lock going as well. So there are things that can go wrong. Definitely, it's a deck with high stakes, right? But you know pretty quickly if you're going to get the win. And so the losses came from just being at the casino, right? Got to take the wins and the losses. Again, it's a fun deck. It's not, always the most consistent, but it does do well, and it mixes up the pace of the game if you're kind of getting bored of your deck. Now, for the part that you guys all hate, if you do like the video and like what you saw today, it helps me out a ton by just taking a second and clicking the thumb down there. It shows me that you guys want more in-depth guides just like these, and I'll keep on making them. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel as we are climbing our way to 50,000 subs. We'll see you guys on the next one, and until then, happy snapping and good luck at the casino.